Did you make contact with aliens? Were you taken to another planet, to a mothership? How did they communicate with... Can you tell me what they look like? Can you tell me how many of them there were? Were you given food? Injections? It's important the entire world learns of your experience.
That's enough!
The teachers are alive. They're not books. They are the very living essences of nature itself.
Unbelievably powerful supercomputer that's running our reality, and we don't have a clue as to how to operate it.
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.
Houston, 20 seconds to LOS T-Dress.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.
Broadcasting from the Forest Tower Studios in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. I'm Joe Roop, and this is Lighting the Void. Voices for Verity in this crazy realm of polarity. It is Tuesday, March the 20th. Another cool and crisp night here in the natural state. Pretty damn good for sky watching. And the moon is waning on into midnight. Hey, fire up your chakras, sync both hemispheres of your brain together, and shoot your magical beam of light through your third eye tonight with us as we peer into the void between spirituality and science on this wonderful night. Thanks for joining us. Also, if you're new and you've listened to the show for the first time, this is a live show. It's broadcasted on thefringe.fm and can be heard on lightingthevoid.com, TalkStream Live, TuneIn, Spreaker, iTunes Radio, Radio Guide FM, Radio Garden, and more by proxy via The Fringe FM. The TalkStream Live number, if you run out of internet or for some reason if your internet goes off, you can always call the TalkStream Live Fringe FM number. That's 701-719-3971. That way you can listen to the show. If I do that, I usually just put it on speakerphone. Speakerphone. I'm looking at the Spreaker chat with everybody in there. What's up, guys? Yeah, so we need your help and support if you can donate to the show. I think the last donation, we got one donation in the past 2 months, I think. So if you can help, it'd be really appreciated. But if not, just keep sharing and listening. I totally understand. I love you anyways. But if you do find anything of value from the show or the Fringe FM, your donations would really be appreciated at this time. All right, so I'm pretty stoked about tonight. I want to make sure that you guys can follow the show as well on social media. So that's Lighting the Void, right? Everything. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. What else are we on? I think that's it. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm missing something here. I don't think we're on anything else, but yeah, I don't do Pinterest. I don't really do Tumblr. So yeah, Lighting the Void. Just give us a search there anywhere online, or just Google Lighting the Void and you'll find us. Some new supporters on social media. I want to give a shout out to some of our new followers. And I really hope that I pronounce your name right, because I'm like the world's worst at butchering names. It's something I do on the reg. So I'm going to have to go ahead and apologize about that. But if I butcher your name. So, man, let me see. The first one is Danka Rachinova. I think that's right. If it's not, I'm sorry. Lisa Allen, Jason Lindgren, Crystal Pardo, Adam Arrowsmith. I know who that is. And Eric D. And a quote from one of our YouTube subscribers, one of our archive subscribers, And it's from Ellie. It says, I really dig your old-time radio style. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now that you know, that's kind of what I'm going for, the old-time style, but on the internet. Yeah, so make sure you download the Fringe FM app on your Google Play Store, your iTunes App Store, so you can have that with you all the time. Go to the website, sign up for the newsletter. So we're not going to do a drawing until Yeg gets his videos. I know you're going to get them. I think what happened was I went to the post office today to pick up a piece of equipment, and I'm pretty sure I know what happened. So, Yeg, I know you probably think that you're never going to get your DVDs, brother, but I can assure you they are coming. I've said this like the fourth time I've said it. So, yeah, you're going to get them, though. And anyways, let's move on to the show topics. Tonight, we're going to return to one of the main topics and favorite topics for both you and I on Lighting the Void, astral and multidimensional travel. Special guest Julia Sellers will be joining us in a few moments to discuss this experience, along with her husband Michael's experience, and talking about her new book, I Have Seen It Tomorrow. So I can't wait for this one. I'm really excited about it, actually. Also, make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe if you can. I've already said that on everything. Is Lighting the Void, the newsletter. Don't forget, I'll be hosting Saturday, both Friday and Saturday night. I said that last week. For some reason, I thought it was last week, but it's this week. So both Friday and Saturday night, I will be on Spaced Out Radio this weekend for Dave Scott, because they're going to be at the UFO Con in San Francisco. Dave Cruz will also be doing a live coverage on the Fringe FM directly from the UFO Con in San Francisco. So be listening on the network. There's several ways to listen to the network. I still see some of you getting confused about the show. So the Fringe FM is a digital network with many shows on it. All right. So if you want to listen to any show on Showtimes, I know we're all over Spreaker, but I'm working on that. But if you want to listen to just the stream, all you got to do is Google the Fringe FM or search on TuneIn, iTunes, Internet Radio, anywhere you go where there's a stream, you can check that out. And it's going to, if you go to the website, thefringe.fm, it's got our schedule there and everything. So just to let you know, on this lovely, I think today is the start of spring. It's officially starting. And today is Sweater Day. So I hate sweaters. As soon as I see that word sweater, I feel like I'm getting itchy all over. I used to freak out when I was a kid when people put sweaters on me. But today is Sweater Day. Wear a sweater on what would have been Mr. Rogers' 80th birthday today. I love that guy. That's worth wearing it. I don't itchy or not. Mr. Rogers was awesome. So, if any of y'all are wearing a sweater today, you're doing Mr. Rogers some justice. All right, let's get on with the Gilson Report so we can get the show moving on here. Amazon just passed Alphabet to become the world's second most valuable company. Trailing just behind Apple, Amazon steps over Google, and its market value is at $768 billion. I wonder if that's got anything to do with that $950 billion military cloud contract that they shoved through Congress with a flamethrower. Maybe, you think? I'm not trying to do I told you so bit, but whatever. Here we go. I'm going to have to talk about this one because it's all over the web. Facebook and the big data breach. Facebook shares are falling, because Cambridge Analytica gained access to more than 50 million accounts. So their stock, I think, is down like 8%. I would figure it was down more than that. But as of this moment, they have a dissent decree. We have a decree, like a... what is it called? Some kind of agreement where you have to give someone your, I'm trying to think of the word for it. It's not dissent. It's, you have to accept it. So they have to ask you, hey, put your name and email here. You have to say yes, verify it and all that stuff. That is always, they've been trying to get rid of that, but that law is still there. Well, apparently Facebook let this company come in and get 50 million users' contact info on Facebook, breaking the decree allegedly, which could hold a penalty of up to $40,000 per violation. So if they get charged with that violation and proven folks, they better change their game a little bit. I know that Facebook pretty much runs the internet. I know that you spend most of your day on Facebook. It's really weird that, it's a very long story, actually, that what's going on with that. But long story short, Facebook pretty much, looks like to me, they think they can run the internet regardless of privacy law. And so they do a lot of, side work with companies and metric companies and stuff, and for advertising reasons. And I've seen a lot of you really complain about your Facebook feeds. There's stuff on my Facebook feed. I don't know where it's coming from. I really haven't seen my friends post in a long time. When Deb Cruz was going for that surgery, I didn't see that post until 3 days after 2 or 3 days after Dave posted that. And it never used to be that way. So every little thing they're putting in your face, including your friends' posts and stuff, has something to do with guiding you towards purchase. And it's getting pretty bad. But I always try to do the negative stuff first and then kind of ease into the positive stuff. But I'm just telling you, just watch out on your Facebook accounts. Watch out on your email list and stuff. I mean, this is kind of old news, really, but at some point, if it's a federal offense for one of us to do it, they should be held accountable as well. I don't know if it's a federal offense or not, but I do know that they're supposed to not do it. But when you're a multi-billionaire, I guess you'll see. They'll get away with it. Moving on. All right, so all of you that love analog TV on your FM and AM radio, U.S. households with paid streaming service surged in the last 10 years. The cut the cord movement in the last 10 years has surged 450%. 450% in less than a decade. Digital Media Trends survey shows that streaming video adoption passed the halfway mark in 2017, with 55% of U.S. households now subscribing to paid services and have cut the cords on their regular satellite or analog or digital even TV services. So you guys, and it's also happening with audio now. So you guys that love, regular TV, FM, AM radio, you better start bracing yourself, because it doesn't look like it's going to be the future at all. 450% growth in 10 years of cord cutting. That's incredible. It's kind of scary though, because now they got all these blockchain things, right? And you guys have been hearing me talk about it. So when everything turns to the internet, everything's going to turn to the internet, and then the blockchain stuff's going to come in, and now everybody has to like you so you can make money. It's Black Mirror all over again. It's I swear, I'm not trying to be a fearmonger or anything. It's really funny to me how this stuff is really like going this way, no matter what. Every week it's something new. But I would love to actually, let's talk about something else. In some really exciting news, well, for me, anyways, I hope for you too, Indiana Jones 5 filming will begin in England in April 2019, set for July of 2020 release. The film will again, and this is the most important thing to remember this, will have Steven Spielberg running the show and Harrison Ford back as Indiana Jones. Dude, I could watch this film over and over again. Star Wars and Indiana Jones. That's the real deal to me. Let's see who else. If you guys want to come over in the Spreaker chat, please don't make fun of me about my Indiana Jones stuff. I like Indiana Jones just as much as I do Star Wars. We got John, Yeg, Catalina, Sam, Rachel, David J. What's up, brother? Richie. I'm going to miss somebody here in just a second. There's Dan. So you guys can come over. If you, someone asked me, I think it was Sam earlier, how you find this on Spreaker. You can search Lighting the Void on Spreaker, but if you also search The Fringe FM, we've got a few shows underneath The Fringe FM. So whenever I go live, or let's say John Polk goes live, or anybody that's on The Fringe FM, it'll pop up. It'll say The Fringe FM is live, and that's what it says. So you guys, sorry, I'm a little hesitant. I'm trying to get a hold of Julia, but she's not picking up the phone, so that's kind of scary, but that happens. But yeah, Harrison Ford still got Indiana Jones part. That's incredible to me. I can't believe. I'm just so afraid of what he's going to look like. I don't even know what the story is going to be about, but I wish they bring back the Asian kid, and it would be perfect if they would bring him back. I don't even know that kid's name, but as soon as I heard about this, I went and watched Indiana Jones, because it was I have it on Amazon Prime, There's Julia. I have it on Amazon Prime, and I'm loving it. Dan, I love you. Tessa, Nicole, Thomas Peterson's in the chat room. The champ is here. You guys are great. Like before I said, I know I asked for your donations and stuff, but before I get to let me just pass that up, okay? What I'm trying to figure out, and what Everett and I are trying to figure out, is we've gotten some emails back from the talkback email on the Fringe FM. Some people don't like our commercials. As I'm telling you right now, as far as Ancient Life oil goes and Get the Tea stuff, that stuff is saving lives. I believe in it, and it's really helped me. So I'm not really against that, but I hear you, okay? So here's the thing. Do we want to do listener-supported radio, or do we want to do like a real business network? Preferably, I would rather do a business network, have some breaks, instead of having to beg you for money. That's just me. But right now, we're kind of in between. So when you guys help us, it helps, believe me. Or when you guys purchase from an advertiser, it helps. The costs of the network are good. The studio costs are pretty high. It's not like I was doing this for a living, but it got so bad and rough that I had to go back and do another part-time job. So, but that's life. I'm not trying to complain to you about taking on responsibilities, because we all got to do that. Just like Dan says, you got to keep your side of the street clean. So that's what I'm doing. But if you guys got some ideas about listener-supported radio, because in my opinion, it don't work. There's like one or two radio networks out there that do it, and they do okay. But then there's another guy, and I won't mention his name because I love him, but all he does, and you may know who I'm talking about, is when he gets on there, he doesn't even do radio anymore. He just has like a podcast subscription, and he has YouTube. And for the first 30 minutes of his show, this is a guy I used to adore and love and listen to on the radio all the time. For the first 30 minutes of his show, he is asking, not only is he asking for people's money, but he's guilt tripping them because they're listening to his YouTube videos, and he calls them ungrateful. So I'm putting out all this information for you, and you're ungrateful, and you don't want to help out. But I can see his frustration because he's been doing listener-supported radio for 10 years, barely getting by every month, begging his listeners for money, and then he has to guilt trip them in the end to get it. I would never do that, but I don't want to go down that path of frustration. So here's what I'm thinking. Everything that we've ever done with this network, with this show, has came from you guys. It all has. The shows, the feedback, everything you guys do. Everything that's been here is because of you. And so I would like you to let me know what you think about this. Really. You can message Everett Themer on Facebook. You can email producer@thefringe.fm. Anything you want to do, any ideas you have about this, because we've got to get support in every month. And every month, because I know we're on the right path, we barely make it because of the few supporters that we have. But look, I'm not blaming you guys that don't do it, because there's a lot of people asking you for your money. If I gave donations out right now for everybody that was asking me for my money, and all the people that I follow and listen to and everybody's Patreon accounts, I wouldn't have any money. So you have to make a decision, right? You guys got to make a decision to who you're going to support. So look, as long as you're listening and sharing, or you're feeding back to me why you're not listening, I love you for it. But I hope that the ads aren't bothering you too much. That's all I'm saying. I promise you I'll never try to promote something that I know absolutely does not work just for the money or anything like that. Anyways, I've been wanting to do this, talk about this for a minute, but I need to get it off my chest, because we went through another rough month, another record month in listeners. It's just financially, it's crazy. I love the struggle, though. I can tell you that, because I've struggled doing what I hate, and it's no fun. When you struggle doing what you love, it really doesn't feel like much of a struggle. It feels like goals that you need to get through, and it's a whole nother thing. It's really great. But we're going to move on with the show here. We're going to get down to business and get back into astral travel again with Julia Sellers. You guys don't go anywhere. We come back. Author, lecturer, speaker, Julia Sellers. She'll be back here in just a few moments with us. Don't go anywhere.
back the blinds and uncover the truth. This is Lighting the Void Radio.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting. We rock the paranormal talk.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Live Saturdays on the Fringe FM. The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. Dark Waters at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. Into the Paranormal with Jeremy Scott at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. Spaced Out Saturday with Joe Roop, 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. And S4 with Eric Cooper, midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. Live Saturdays on the Fringe FM. We rock the paranormal talk. Online at thefringe.fm.
Hey Fringe FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Wouldn't you love to have a really sharp memory? More than ever before, people of all ages are struggling with memory problems and brain fog. Whether your poor memory is age-related or due to the effects of chronic stress, you can now improve your memory while reducing stress with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. That's right, you get 2 products rolled into one. Some ingredients in Calm and Clever enhance memory and help retain newly learned information more effectively, while other ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce stress by maintaining healthy levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. To sharpen your mind and feel calm and centered, try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll love the way you feel and think. To order Calm and Clever, call 1-800-728-9948 or visit calmandclever.com. 1-800-728-9948 or calmandclever.com.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio with Joseph Roop. Stay up to date right now, lightingthevoid.com.
Don't feed the Archons. Feed ducks instead. And listen to Shift Happens on the Fringe FM, Fridays, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Cortana out. Quack.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Come own the night with us. Hi there, this is Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. Every Monday through Friday, right here on KTLK, the Fringe FM, I'm going to lead you down a path of mystery, intrigue, and suspense. So whether you've seen a UFO, had a run-in with Bigfoot or Dogman, or had ghosts running around your house, this is the place to be. Spaced Out Radio, right here on KTLK.
Oh, you know what I like about me? This is Rich Giordano, host of The Paranormal Code. No, I'm serious. The show's on twice a week now, Sunday and Thursday, on thefringe.fm and Spreaker, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. Yeah, it's 2 hours. It's live. And I do a show like you've never heard before. So you're going to come here, you're going to get your information, you're going to be entertained. But you're also going to hear the truth like, you know, you won't forget. Like you've never heard before. And for those of you who've been following, thank you. Thank you for talking me into this extra night. Now I'm on twice. Great. Hey, good for you, right? The Paranormal Code. This means something.
This is Lighting the Void Radio with your host, Joseph Roop. It's the show about truth-seeking and freeing the spirit, shattering your limited beliefs, revealing hidden truths, and much, much more.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. Thank you for listening. We are live on the Fringe FM. I am your host, Joe Roop. Tomorrow night, don't forget, we'll be here same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, every Tuesday and Wednesday night, right here live on the Fringe FM. All right, let's bring on our guest, Julia Sellers, lecturer, author, coach, and researcher who was born in Banovce in Western Slovakia. Julia experienced her first out-of-body experience in 1995. Since that time, she devotes her free time to the study of OBEs. She is interested in quantum physics, free energy, anomalous cognition, near-death experiences, and topics of merging science and religion. She has 3 degrees, and she studied in the former USSR, USA, and Slovakia. Her majors were law, journalism, Russian area studies, management, and Phytopathology. I hope I said that right. She's fluent in 5 languages, and she has dual American and Slovak citizenship. She's a translator-interpreter, a lecturer in the Russian language, and an English teacher at the first private school in the Slovak Republic, focused on the behavioral problems of children with learning disabilities and emotional problems. Executive manager and head of the international section of the presidential election campaign, Slovakia, she is the foreign relations advisor to the ex-prime minister of the Slovak Republic, an analyst for the Department of International Relations, deputy manager, and the Central Election Campaign, a foreign correspondent accredited to the U.S. Department of State, and freelance writer and lobbyist. She also worked for the Fund of Constitutional Government. She has lectured in Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and the USA. She has appeared in national as well as international media. And she is the author of her book, I Have Seen It Tomorrow. This extraordinary book explores the out-of-body experiences, and the English version of the book was published in this past February of 2018. She is a member of the Society for Scientific Research, the Afterlife Research and Educational Institute, is active in the ACISTE Forum, American Center for the Integration of Spirituality, Transformation, or Transformative Experiences, and works closely with the Free Foundation, the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, where she administers the Free Experiencer Research Study for Europe. For more information on Julia's work and appearances, you can visit her website at juliasellers.sk, and you can just research that and Google it on Amazon as well. Julia, thanks for coming out to Lighting the Void. That is a pretty impressive resume you got there.
Hi, Joe. It's great to be with you tonight, and hope everyone's doing okay and is ready for the show.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anything about astral travel I love talking about. And like I said, I heard you on the show, the Starborn Connection. It was a really interesting show. I didn't go to sleep. I was supposed to go to sleep last night, and I stayed up the whole time listening to it. And I'm just, this subject is my favorite subject. Now, I think it's because I've had the experience, but it's actually something that instead of just wondering about, that I can actually say that I might be getting close to answers. And I don't know if that's because I've had the experience, but I know it's real and it's fascinating. And thanks for coming out and talking to us about it.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, the topic of out-of-body experiences, it's been around for a while. I mean, you have people, getting out of body in the ancient times. I mean, you have some mentions of out-of-body experiences in the Bible, actually. And the saints regularly would experience out-of-body experiences. But, when you look at the out-of-body experience from a, scientific point of view, or if you ask me, what is the definition of out-of-body experience? I mean, what is it about? Well, I'm telling you right now that the science actually, as of today, is not united on a clear-cut definition of an out-of-body experience. I mean, the science will tell you, an out-of-body experience is something, or rather, it's an experience that, in which a person would be awake. Okay, that's number 1 point. So that's something that should be happening to you under full consciousness, in a waking state, so to speak. Yeah. Now you are able, while out of body, you're able to see your physical body and the surroundings from a location that is outside your physical body. So basically what's happening, you are looking at your physical body from a point of view that is outside of your physical body. And that could be, you get out of body, you end up on the ceiling, you end up on one of the walls in the room if your out-of-body experience is happening in the room. But also, out-of-body experience is something that basically you say, okay, so number one, you look at your body from a position that is outside of your physical body. Number two, you have a perception of floating. You're kind of like floating or hovering about your body, right? Number three, you basically, there is the feeling of a disembodiment, right? It's a clear feeling of disembodiment. You know you're being outside of your physical body. And also there is a great a subjective meaningfulness or enhanced reality. So what I'm saying, that when you're out of body, you know it's not a dream. You can recognize the difference between dreaming and between being out of body. When you are out of body, again, there is the sense of an enhanced reality. So whatever you're observing while out of body, you know it's not a dream, and it really looks 3D to you. You know you're out there, your physical body. At the same time, you can see, sitting on the bed, sitting on the, on the chair, whatever, even walking, right? When Michael, my husband, okay, I wrote the book under my pen name. So guys, if you look for the book and if you get on the Amazon, don't be looking for Julia Sellers. Just look for Iris Kirst, KRST. That's my pen name. So it's under my pen name. And my book talks about out-of-body experiences, not only of mine out-of-body experiences, but mostly about out-of-body experiences of Michael, my husband, who actually was born with them, right? He experiences out-of-body, ever since he can remember. And his out-of-body experiences are on a massive level. He would have them every day. And basically, Michael is what we call healthy population, right? And I really want to make the distinction, because you have out-of-body experiences that were researched, right? Or they were, looked at in different research studies that were basically aimed at the pathological population. And there's a severe lack of research studies that would talk about out-of-body experiences occurring in the so-called non-pathological population, that's healthy population. And you really have to make the distinction between when there's an out-of-body experience happening to someone with a pathological case. You can have different seizures, attacks, schizophrenia, you can have epilepsies, and what you have, yes, you do have experiences out of body under pathological clinical cases, but to have an out of body happening to you naturally, organically, spontaneously, or at will, while you have no brain damage, you have no pathological case, that's totally two different things. And we do need more researchers that would, that would be able to run their studies with people who are, as I said, who belong to a healthy population. So basically there's nothing wrong with them, but they still do have out-of-body experiences, as I said, occurring naturally, organically, right? Yes, you want to ask something?
Oh, well, so you actually do differentiate the dream state and out-of-body experiences.
Oh, yes,
because
definitely.
A lot of people say it's the same thing, Julia, and I'm like, I don't think so, because it didn't feel like the same thing to me.
Exactly. I mean, you've just described to me before the show your out-of-body experience, and I'm totally with you on that because, as I said, number one, when you dream, right? Now, we have to actually, this is what's happening, right? I know that the literature sometimes would tell you that the so-called lucid dreaming, you've heard about lucid dreaming, right? It's they're dreams that they seem like, like you're awake, right? Mm-hmm. But you're still dreaming. Now, lucid dream is something that's happening while you are asleep, but at the same time, you are able to control your dreams. So let's say that you're dreaming, right? And you yourself are aware. Number one, you're aware of the fact that you're dreaming, right? Now, you are able to control whatever is happening during the dream, but still, it's a dream. Now, when you're out of body, you can tell you're out of body. Again, when you're out of body, number one, you see your physical body, right? Either under yourself, you're floating. You see your physical body from an elevated perspective, so to speak. Now, what's happening to you when you're out of body is the following. All of your senses, right, the 5 basic human senses, are intact, but they are vivider than, they're very real and vivid. They are intensified comparing to when you're awake or when you're dreaming. When you're out of body, right, you see things kind of like with it's called a circular vision. It's 360 degrees, right? So basically what's happening, you see what's happening in front of you, in a bag, and on the side, right? So basically you can be looking at something and see the object from a point of view of like 360 degrees. And it's crazy because you might want to, you go like, oh, what's happening? Why am I seeing things in front of myself, in a bag, and from the sides at the same time? Now, what's happening to your ears when you're out of body? You basically are able to hear things that are happening outside the room, behind the walls, on the street. Like you can end up being able to listen to two people talking on a street while you are in the room having your out-of-body experience. So basically you're there on the hovering above your body on the ceiling, right? You see things with a so-called global or circular vision. You hear things that are happening behind a wall. Now, what's happening to your olfactory system or the sense? You can smell things around you that are no way there. Like you smell roses. You smell a cigarette smoke around you, and you clearly know, oh, no one is smoking here, so why am I, what is the cigarette here, or what is the cigarette smell here? You smell roses, you smell vanilla, you smell chocolate, whatever, and these things are not around you. But basically, what is the smell, right? The ability of you to smell these things while they're not around you, basically, is information information is getting to you via nose, via skin, via ears, via eyes, right? So basically, the smell is a piece of information. And guess what? Sometimes very sensitive people, when smelling the cigarette smoke or smelling, roses, whatever, they can just smell and they can detect the information in the form of a thought. So basically what will happen is that the cigarette smoke would transfer itself into a piece of information that the people can detect via an idea, a thought, a word, a symbol, seeing in their mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, with what's happening to your skin and the tactile senses, basically, you are able to detect things via distance. So what I'm saying is that rather than using your physical eyes, right? You don't see your physical eyes when you're out of body. You kind of like detect things around you with the skin, okay? Now, in the skin, there is a chemical called melanin. Melanin is a pigment, but melanin is a great chemical that is able to detect electromagnetic radiation around you and transform it into bits of information. Melanin is a chemical that's able to transform light into the sound or sound into the light. So melanin is very important chemical in our body that serve as a radio antenna. It can detect things around you, and with the help of your skin, basically, when you're out of body, you can detect objects around you via distance. So basically, when Michael is when Michael is out of body, he can tell the objects in the room. He can detect them by the skin at a distance. So basically, if there's a chair, let's say there's a chair in the room, right? And he's out of body and he can tell, this chair is made of metal, is made of wood, is made of leather, whatever. And it's hot, it's cold. So he can detect the temperature at a distance and stuff like that. I know it sounds crazy, but believe me,
what if he's on the moon
happened.
Or something, though? Like he's really far away?
Oh, definitely. And actually, it's funny that you notice that. Yeah, he has been having a wild out-of-body experiences. Now, he has been to the moon and he has been to the Mars before. From what I put down, okay, from his, description of the moon, because when he's out of body, sometimes, I have been putting down information about his out-of-body experiences for more than 20 years now, okay? I have written tons of pages, and then I put it all together and, made a book. But from what I have written into my diary about the moon and Mars, the red planet, he said the following about the moon, for instance. He says that, the U.S. government has buildings on the moon. And they have it will be heavily inhabited in the future. The moon will, okay?
Yeah.
It will be heavily inhabited, and there are secret government buildings there right now. Now, the information, of course, is hidden from public, but it's interesting to know that in the future, many pharmacy plants or pharmaceutical plants will be built on the moon for the processing and manufacture of medicinal products. And that's interesting, Also on the moon, people, when on the moon, must wear oxygen masks. It's because of atmosphere. So basically, the atmosphere must be different from the atmosphere on Earth, because you can, freely breathe here on Earth, but you cannot do that on the moon. However, it's not the case with the Mars. on Mars, the atmosphere is very similar to what it is on Earth, so you don't have to wear oxygen masks there. But speaking about Mars, actually, I think it was last year there was a congressional hearing on the Mars happening in Washington, D.C., and that was, I think, the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology was gathering. It was the House of Representatives Committee, and they have invited Mr. Farley, to talk about Mars and their research there. NASA, has been conducting research on Mars. Sure. And Mr. Farley, he is the head of the Mars mission of NASA. And as far as I can remember, Mr. Farley testified that on the Mars, there are large lakes and a possible sea existed in the northern part of Mars. Now, guess what? I went to my diary. I was going through my diary, and I found Michael's notes about Mars that he made back in 1998. Now, the hearing happened in 2017, but my notes from 20 years prior, from 1998, says that Michael was talking about Mars, and he said exactly what Mr. Farley did about Mars. Michael says there used to be huge lakes on Mars and also ocean or sea. So it's unbelievable, because the way Michael talked about Mars was exactly what Mr. Farley said in front of the House of Representatives last year. So you kind of like wonder, oh my God, that's pretty close, Right. So yeah.
Can I ask you about Michael for a minute? So when I was reading your bio, I know that you had your first experience in 1995.
Yeah.
And I heard you speak on another show how Michael, who's your husband, has been having out-of-body experiences since he was a baby.
Yep.
How did you meet? How did you guys come together? Was it a synchronistic type event?
I think it was, and as a matter of fact, and I know this might sound crazy for the listeners, but when Michael was 4 or 5, he told me that he was shown his future wife and his future kids, and he recognized then that it was me. When he saw me back in we met in 1993 in Washington, D.C., where I, used to live before, and Michael still lives now. And that was really crazy, because Michael was having, it was summer 1993, and he was having a summer job in one of the malls in D.C. And the funny thing was that I was having a pizza in the cafeteria where he was working at the ice cream shop, right? And now I remember going to the bathroom in the cafeteria, and when I left, as I was leaving the bathroom, right, he was standing in front of a door. So I opened the door and I was ready to leave the bathroom, and he was there standing. And he goes like, do you like frozen yogurt? And I'm like, yes, I do. So he gave me some vouchers for frozen yogurt. But when we talked about this after, he said, Julia, when you appeared in the cafeteria area, I instantly recognized you by your energy. He saw my aura and the colors of my energy, and he knew who I was. He knew I was his future wife. And basically, that was our first meeting, and we're together since then, which is crazy. It's over 20 years now. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, he knew who his, future wife was going to be, his senior future kids. And that happened to him when he was 4. he was shown that. He see that. He knew who Julia is going to be. He knew who, his kids are going to be. So I believe this was not an accident, but I don't want to speculate about it anymore.
Sure.
Just leave it. Yeah, and it was clearly this was not an accident. And, so.
I wonder sometimes why some people like Michael and Robert Monroe, and I wouldn't say William Buellman, but some people just have this thing where they can just do it. They do it. And it's almost like it's accidental, or they can't help it. They just do it every night. And then others, like, if I don't sleep, if I don't get enough rest, if I don't practice, if I don't meditate, I can't do it. I wonder what the difference is.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. And, I talk about it often because I get similar questions during my workshops on out-of-body experiences that I conduct here in Europe. But, I'll tell you this. I mean, I distinguish natural out-of-body experience, natural organic out-of-body experiences from the so-called forceful. I call them forceful, right? But what I'm saying is that, certain people have them naturally, organically. They have them spontaneously or at will. But it's happening naturally. To my understanding, like Bill Bowman or even Bob Monroe had to practice in order to get out of body, right? I mean, Bill took 3 months prior his first out of body experience, and it really, he took 3 months. He was training and practicing. Guess what? With Michael, it's very natural to the point that Michael is tired of being out of body. He's tired of his out of body experiences. He wants to be normal. He wants to be grounded. He wants to be back in his body. But he cannot, because obviously there's a reason for him to be out of body. He has it naturally, and in order for him to stay grounded, sometimes he needs to eat a lot of meat, because meat is something that can, ground you and pull you back into the body. But as you said, the out-of-body experiences can be either naturally or induced, right? Now, but we have to clearly differentiate it, because when they are induced, they can be induced by meditation, by trance, by hypnosis, by different techniques, auditory or audio techniques, where you have one frequency being put in one ear and other frequency, running into your left ear.
Hemisync.
So you have exactly binaural beats, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, sure. And they would meet in the middle of your brain, and they have the ability to, pull you out of body. Yeah, these are all things that are artificial. So basically you need them to artificially induce your out-of-body experience. Now, if you induce your out-of-body experience artificially, though, there might be some dangers, right? Because when you're out of body and you're being pulled out of body artificially, you can end up in the astral plane, and there's a lot of negative entities in the astral plane that can kind of suck on your body, and when you are back in your physical body, you can bring those negative frequencies or frequencies of a negative astral beings or entities with you, and then suddenly you change your behavior, and you know that you're different. Suddenly something is happening to you. So these are the dangers of forceful out of body experiences. Now, what I'm saying is that fine, if it's happening naturally, go with that. It's something that is there for a reason. Basically, if it happens naturally, it means that your physical body is ready for it. That you are not just your physical body, but your mental body, emotional body, light body, dark body. I mean, people have a lot of bodies, not just the physical body. So your energetic body is plus your physical body is ready for that if it happens naturally. If it doesn't, then I'm sorry. I mean, I don't see the reason why people want to attend a workshop that would teach them how to get out of body, because you have to work for that. You have to train, you have to practice.
Right.
I mean, there's certain dangers, as I said. So if it happens naturally, go with that. I mean, that's fine. I mean, this is happening naturally. So, you're ready for that. But to kind of like, look for out of body on purpose, or to train for it, or practice that, or even go to a workshop that would teach you, or that would teach different technologies, different methods, or how to get out of body. I don't see a point in doing that. I know people wanna experience this, this stuff because it's cool. It's hot, But at the same time, I would be cautious in doing that. That's my point of view, and you don't have to agree with that, but that's how I go about that.
Sure, yeah. Being cautious is a good thing, because when I first had the first out of body experience I had, it was wonderful. I was kind of amazed, but the second or third time I was trying to do it, listening, trying to force myself out of my body.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had shadows pushing me back in my body, things hovering over my face. There's questions in the chat room about stress, anxiety, and depression. Do these cause a difference in the ability to have out-of-body experiences?
Oh, definitely. And it's a very good question. When you're under stress, you're experiencing anxiety, you would have a difficult time to get out of body. And I know about myself, or even about Michael, if he's under stress or having a hard time, he has a hard time getting out of body. Well, basically what I'm saying is that if you're happy, if you are enjoying something, if you're experiencing a feeling of a joy, extreme joy or bliss, you can get out of body very, very easily. Okay? Now, under stress, or if you're having a hard time or experiencing difficult time, have anxiety or depression, then you get out of body, you have a hard time getting out of body. Out of body experiences are basically not only under the influence of your state of mind or your mood, or you can have anxiety, depression, whatever, but also the moon phase, the time of the year, whether it's spring or it's autumn, whether it's raining or not, whether there's sunshine outside. These are all factors that rather have an influence on the ability to get out of body. Sometimes when it's raining, I know that it's much easier to get out of that body under the rain. And it's funny because you say that, or I've read a number of times that the ghosts around you appear in a cloudy or rainy weather. And that's true, because when it's raining, Michael is out of body instantly and for a long time. So the rainy weather somehow is a factor in the ability to get out of body and to see things happening around you. And so is the moon. The moon phase,
Cool.
Is a great influencer. It can grade you. It can be influencing your ability to get out of body. Definitely, yeah.
Well, we got to take our first break. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that, about the moon phases, and actually about your first out-of-body experience. And then we'll go down the subject and take some more of your questions in the chat room, guys. We'll be right back with Julia Sellers. Don't go anywhere.
Preston Dennett from PrestonDennett.weebly.com, and you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Do you or a loved one suffer migraine headaches? Listen to what scientist Kurt Hendricks has to say.
35 million people in the United States suffer with debilitating migraines. If you or a loved one are one of them, you need to know about MiGrelief. Hi, I'm Kurt Hendricks, the scientist that formulated and patented the MiGrelief migraine formula. MiGrelief is a non-prescription dietary supplement recommended by neurologists, pharmacists, and pediatricians to address nutritional deficiencies in both adults and children over 2 with migraines. Try MiGrelief for 3 months and see the powerful difference it can make in your life, or get your money back, no questions asked. Go to MIG911.com or call 800-MIG-7354. You can change your life today.
So if you suffer from migraines, don't wait. Call 800-MIG-7354. That's 800-MIG-7354. Or visit MIG911.com.
Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Bouval, Lon Duquette, Aaron Sheik, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to magicalegypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at magicalegypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to magicalegypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Tired of talking about the weather? No Shift. Well, Shift Happens is here to fulfill your desires as you reach that point in life where you crave tantalizing conversation about reality, ufology, the occult, and the conspiracies within, while simultaneously finding yourself desperately in need of your very own theme music, which we've got plenty of that too. So be sure to tune in to Shift Happens every Friday night from 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on the Fringe FM. Because the weather sucks, and you need some theme music.
Hey Fringe FM listeners, guess what? TalkStream Live has just released a new paranormal app exclusively for the paranormal community called Paranormal Radio. Paranormal Radio has a great selection of streaming talk shows dealing with UFOs, the supernatural, sacred geometry, NDEs, and much more, including a network highly recommended, The Fringe FM. You can download Paranormal Radio right now from Google Play and the iTunes App Store.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
Select Joe Roop at checkout at ancientlifeoil.com.
This is Lighting the Void Radio with your host, Joseph Roop. It's the show about truth-seeking and freeing the spirit, shattering your limited beliefs, revealing hidden truths, and much, much more.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. I'm your host, Joe Roop. We are live on the Fringe FM. We are here with author, lecturer, speaker, and coach Julia Sellers, who has a book out under Iris Christ, and that's spelled KRST. If you go to juliasellers.sk, you can check out the book or also research this book. It is called I Have Seen It Tomorrow, and it is out on Amazon as well right now. Julia, before the break, you were speaking about the phases of the moon. I'm just kind of curious. The only people that I know that keep records of that are, I guess you could call them mystics. People that I've talked to that have out-of-body experiences, like mystics, magicians, and stuff like. They always write down the phase of the moon, what house it's in, and if it's waning or waxing. But the moon does affect our consciousness. I mean, it's obvious, right?
Yeah, I mean, the moon does affect our consciousness, our being, even the physical being, in a great and greatly. Now, when I talked about the out-of-body experiences and the moon phases, yeah, definitely. When it's a full moon, you end up having more out-of-body experiences, as opposed to when it's not full moon. Well, basically, when it's a full moon, for Michael, he cannot help but be out of body. He is just pulled out of a body somehow naturally, even sometimes against his will. He does not want to be out of body or get out of body. And has been getting the out-of-body experiences under full moon somehow very frequently, and it's really natural. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, as I said, it's against his will. Like, he's not ready for that in his start. He doesn't want to be out of body. And under full moon, really, it's just crazy. Full moon has special energies that basically interact with the energies of the human being, whether it's electromagnetic radiation in the form of oscillations, or it's the horizontal mechanic longitudinal waves that are in the form of sound or vibrations. So all of it is affecting your physical body. And as I said, during the full moon, it is really crazy. And the full moon even gets, the full moon even affects your behavior. You feel funny, you feel a certain way during the full moon, especially with Michael. And when I, observe his behavior during the full moon, it's just a tremendous difference when comparing to his behavior when, there's no full moon.
Can you tell me about your first out-of-body experience?
Yeah, oh my God, that was 30 years ago, 20-something. It was back in 1994. And it's funny because, again, I did not know what an out-of-body experience was until it happened to me the first time. Now, what happened to me, well, what I remember is that I woke up from a sleep. It was at night, and I woke up. But instead of me waking up in my bed, I woke up on the ceiling. And it was funny because I woke up and I knew I was awake. I knew that, right? Because everyone can recognize the difference between dreaming and being awake, right? Now, I woke up and I knew I was, in a waking state. But the funny thing was that I saw my physical body from a ceiling, and I definitely knew that what was on the bed was my physical body. Now, I ended up on a ceiling. As I said, I woke up on a ceiling, and I was kind of confused and very scared because what ended up on the ceiling was not my physical body, because my physical body was, laying on a bed. But what ended up on the ceiling basically was a part of my, I would call it consciousness, or the higher self, or a quantum of energy that was able to extend beyond the physical borders of my body. And it was sitting up on a ceiling, but at the same time, all of my senses were intact. So I was able to see, and the vision was, cyclical. It was a global vision, which is that I was able to see things from a 360 point degrees. I was able to hear stuff, and I remember listening to some people talking on the street. Then the other thing that I remember was that at that time I lived with a roommate, and I was able to listen to the TV show that my roommate was watching in the other room. So basically I was listening to the TV show through the wall, right, through the walls, because it was happening in the other room, and I could tell what show was it, and I think it was the Friends, the American show.
Friends.
Yeah. So she was watching the Friends, and I could recognize it from the ceiling that, hey, she's watching the Friends.
Right.
Now I was able to, as I said, to hear some stuff coming from a street. And so this was my first out-of-body experience. Now, I got very scared because this happened to me, for the first time. I didn't know what it was. And by me being scared, I automatically pulled into my physical body.
Yeah,
so it was the fear that, I think, pulled me back into the physical body.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had the same thing when the first time that happened to me. I rolled off my couch and looked around, and I knew it when it happened. What, Julie? I actually felt like that I did that William Buellman kind of the roll technique where you kind of sit up and roll. But I thought, okay, this didn't work. I actually got up off the couch because it felt like I just woke up and got up off the couch, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I looked around my living room. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try this again. And I turned around, and I was like, there I was, laying there asleep. And I was like, oh, that's how real it felt,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just can tell. I know it's hard for people who did not experience an out-of-body experience, right, yet. But it's hard for them to even picture what it is. But trust me, if you get there, you know that it's happening for real, and it's not a dream. There's a clear distinction between, dreaming and being out of body or being in a waking state. And you just recognize it once you get there, it's there, Can
I ask you a question about something that's recently happened to me that I keep having this issue with? Because I told you during the break, I'm very tired now. And so I find myself falling asleep at my desk, in the studio desk while I'm editing or watching a show. And I'm almost experimenting with these states of what's called the hypnagogic state.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll find myself dreaming, just automatically dreaming. And the other night I was listening to Spaced Out Radio, and I could hear the radio host. And all of a sudden I was in the woods, and I saw these three beings, and I knew that they were the three stages of fear. That's, I guess, I don't know if someone told me that, but I guess I just, I knew it. And it seemed like I was there for 30 minutes. But then when I woke up, the clock had only moved maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, this is natural, and it's called the time distortion. Time distortion actually happens all the time when when people experience the so-called altered state of consciousness. Mm-hmm. Altered state of consciousness could be, out-of-body experience, a trance, or hypnagogic state of mind. Hypnagogia is a term that's used to describe state between waking and drowsing or falling asleep. Right. So anytime the altered state of consciousness happens, even people who take drugs, who take, there was a study made with people who take marijuana, and they looked at the time distortions with, drug users or what you have. Yeah, the time distortions happens all the time when you have out-of-body experience. Michael experiences great time distortions to the degree that he says, well, that's not possible, because he would leave the body, let's say, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He would come back at 2:30. He would come back in what to him looks like 2:30. So he would say, well, I was away maybe for 30 minutes. Right. At least that's what felt to me when I was out of body. But guess what? He would come back at 8 p.m. And I remember this instance that happened like last year when he was visiting Slovakia. We were here and he was out of body, and I could tell he was, so usually when he's out of body, I don't bother him. I don't talk to him because I can tell he's out of body, so he's doing his own things. Although he can be sitting on the couch drinking his coffee, and he could be engaged in some kind of, non-meaningful conversations. He would just answer yes and no, that's nice, and stuff like that. But he would come back in 6 hours or so. And he would tell me, Julie, this is incredible. I was away for 30 minutes. That's what it felt to me while I was out of body. And he would come back at 8 p.m. and he says, oh my God, the time flew by so fast. I'm confused. He was kind of like, where have I been for half of a day? Right. What have I done? Because whatever he was doing out of body felt to him like 30 minutes. Yeah. So the time distortion is happening whenever you experience the so-called altered state of consciousness, and many researchers talk about it. There's been many research studies out there that would talk about time distortion. Yeah, so that's happening.
The Bob Monroe talked about how he ended up living another life. I don't know how he traveled to this other life in the astral realm, but he inhabited another body in another lifetime as he was another person. And sometimes he would get, he couldn't differentiate between realities sometimes. Does that happen to Michael?
Definitely. And this is, very true, to the point that, Michael would, when he's out of body, he can go, backwards in time or forward in time. So basically he would end up in the future, but he could end up in the past. Now, he would inspect the future. He would see himself and the whole family in the future, let's say 2045, whatever. Now, when he would come back from a future into the 2018, sometimes he would get confused with respect to what reality is real, to the point that sometimes, he would ask me, Julie, what years do we have? I'm confused, because sometimes he would spend so much time in the future, in a future like 3 years ahead, that he would get confused as to what reality is. And sometimes it really gets wild, because he would not know the date or what year it is. Sometimes he would get back, into the past, and he would see his the so-called past lives. But guess what? The past lives really are not past, because they are happening right now. Everything is happening right now, and the past and the future and the present is kind of like blended together, and at the certain point of frequency, So basically, to say that the past life happened in the past is not true. That's what it feels for the physical body, for the 3D kind of like a flow of time. But when you get out of 3D and you get to different dimensions, you definitely see that the past, the present, and the future is blended together. So to be talking about past lives actually is, like Michael is able to see his past lives happening right now. When he's out of body and he gets to certain dimensions, he really sees all lives, past lives, future lives happening at the same time. And that's when it gets really crazy, because you really get confused about the year and the time and the flow of time. It's all distorted and it's all happening at the same time. So yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but this is what's happening, actually.
Oh, I'll get deeper with this, because I'm going to go a little bit deeper here than as far as craziness goes. What about the extraterrestrials, things like that? Has Michael ever spoke with entities from another realm or another dimension?
Yeah, well, definitely. First of all, he is able to see different entities all the time. From what he told me, he says that, I've been able to see more than 100 different types of ETs, or let's call it non-human intelligence. Non-human intelligences are around all the time. It's just that we don't see them, but they're here right now. They just are pulsing at a different frequency pulses, and that's why we're not able to see them with our physical eyes or detect them. Yeah, Michael is in touch with some of the non-human intelligent beings. Now, he says, they're around and I see them, but as long as I do not approach them, they are not approaching me. So basically, he sees them around, he's aware of them, but there is no interaction. However, he has been interacting with certain types of non-human intelligent beings since he was born. Since he can remember, there were some beings that he calls them the its. The its, yeah. It's okay. Meaning that they're not, it's not he, she, it's an it. Okay? It's neuter in gender and it's plural, so he calls them the its. And it's funny because, he's been interacting with them for over 4 years now, and he talks to them telepathically, of course, and basically those beings have no physical forms to them. They do not have physical bodies. They are basically more or less different frequencies of light, and they are different shapes of shimmering light, and the light is changing and the form is changing. It's like different geometry, and basically he interacts to them telepathically, and he's in touch with them, and they would basically guide him through his life, so to speak. And they are very important to them. And again, he calls them it's because they don't have physical gender. And they don't have physical bodies. They're just, he would call them plasma beings, or they're just blobs, or they and it's funny. So he talks to plasma beings, and he talks to colors, he talks to different geometrical shapes, and it's funny, I know, but I
believe it. Because this has happened to a lot of people, and even Buellman and other people that are in this field talk about that as well. How the geometrical shapes, portals, entities they speak to, they can't even see sometimes, but they know they're there based on a conscious presence. Now, another question I want to ask you before I forget, and that's not really relevant to Michael, more to you though, but you've had a little bit of experience with the government and international relations, according to your resume here, which is really cool. Do you think, and this might be a dumb question for some, but I do wonder just how involved or how aware government officials, military, intelligence, people like that are aware of this? Because I know that they do like remote viewing stuff, and the CIA and the military, but I wonder if they're doing astral travel experiments as well sometimes.
They do. I mean, the remote viewing experiments, actually, they have to do a lot with the astral projections and stuff. Well, basically, the government, and it's not just the American government, it's also the KGB, or it's Mossad in Israel, and it's also with the French government. They do have people that are trained in, you want to say remote viewing. It's called remote viewing, but you can call, out-of-body experiences, or different gifted psychics that would be able to basically release some information, some intelligence on different politicians or different important security issues. And this is happening all the time, and we just do not think it is, but it is. And, the out-of-body experiences actually were studied in the 50s or 60s or even 70s by the CIA or the government. The government heavily funded projects like that. And one of the psychics, very gifted psychics that was used in a project was Ingo Swann. And Ingo Swann, actually, he really was a gifted psychic who, to my knowledge, was experiencing, out-of-body experiences. He could be remote viewing, and he could also be out-of-body and see things in the 3D. Because, we talked about remote viewing. It's a little bit different from being out-of-body or out-of-body experiences. When you are remote viewing, you see things from inside of your physical body, so to speak. So you do not leave your body, you do not end up remotely viewing, but you end up being close viewing or closely viewing. Because when you're out of body, you basically are part of a scene that you are getting intelligence on or information. So let's just say that there was some murder or whatever happened, and they want to know, the intelligence, and they want to know the specifics of the murder. So sometimes when Michael, gets out of body, he would end up at a murder or at a crime scene in the 3D. 3D means that he would be standing just by the side of a killer, so to speak. But the killer cannot see him. He's not aware of Michael being there out of body. But Michael can pass through the killer unnoticedly. He can even detect the emotions of the killer. So he knows what was going on in the mind of the killer when he was, committing the murder. He can pick up the feelings, the emotions. He can pick up the feelings and the emotions of the people attacked or people, being murdered in a murder. He can basically, he's just around there. And he told me once, and I remember that, and it's kind of graphic, that when he was working on one murder of a politician back in Europe. It was a European politician that got murdered, and he was working on the murder. And he told me when he got out there to the murder scene, out of body, he would basically watch the whole murder taking place, and there was some shooting involved, and he says, when the guy got killed, I could feel his blood on my skin. I could feel it was warm, it was hot, it was warm. And it's funny because his physical body was nowhere around, but his the etheric body, or whatever you want to call it, that left the physical etheric body could feel the blood and everything. And so psychics are being used heavily. We just do not know about it, and if we do, then we do not know the whole truth, right? Sure. Because it's happening.
Well, we're going to take our last break. I really appreciate you sticking it out with us. I know it's a totally different time where you're at, so got some more. We're going to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole with Julia Sellers. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after these words.
Hi, it's Jeremy Scott, and I'm the program director for the network you're listening to right now. We are the Fringe FM. You've probably noticed some changes around here lately, but what we really want is to hear from you. If you like it, hate it, or you want some more, let us know. Email talkback@thefringe.fm. Leave us your thoughts by calling 501-777-5631 or message our Facebook page at The Fringe FM. This is the new Fringe FM. We rock the paranormal talk.
Greetings, I'm Space Boy. I started writing music at an early age, inspired by such synth stylings of the Pet Shop Boys, Erasure, Kraftwerk, Art of Noise, and 8-Bit. I have crafted my work into a hybrid of synth pop with modern electronica rock music of today, with pounding beats, high-energy arpeggios, soothing orchestral moods, and rock and roll! Space Boy will surely be a part of anyone's music collection. So head on over to spaceboymusic.com and get you some cool stuff.
Ever seen an extraterrestrial? It can be hard to believe they exist unless you've seen one for yourself. What if I told you I've seen them my whole life, but have never had a witness who shared the encounter with me? Now, what if I told you I saw 4 of them, 2 with blue skin, and there are over 20 witnesses to this CE5 event? My new book, The Blue Beings, Visitation at the UFO Conference, documents actual accounts from real witnesses, many of which have gone on record to attest to this otherworldly reality. Be a part of the quantum paradigm shift that is taking place right now. Go to johnpolkmedia.com to get your copy of The Blue Beings, Visitation at the UFO Conference, on sale right now at johnpolkmedia.com. That's JOHNPOLK media.com.
Kids, Don't drink and park. Accidents cause people. This has been a PSA brought to you by your friends at Shift Happens and The Fringe FM.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
You guys rock! Live weekdays on the Fringe FM. It's Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Monday through Friday at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. The Fenton Perspective with Lori and Fenton. Mondays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. Project Compass with Mark Eddy and Dave Cruz. Mondays at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Lighting the Void with Joe Roop. Tuesdays and Wednesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Big Picture Science from the SETI Institute. New Tuesdays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. Wednesdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. The Kurt Green Hour, Wednesdays at midnight, 3 a.m. Eastern. The Paranormal Code with Rich Giordano, Thursdays at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Shift Happens with Gigi and Cortana, Friday at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern.
Is it live?
Live, weekdays on the Fringe FM. We rock the paranormal talk. On the Fringe FM app, TalkStream Live, tune in, and online at thefringe.fm.
Psychic Sundays, spiritual communication, ET contact, Sasquatch in your backyard. We will have it all on Cosmic Passport with me, Elizabeth Anglin. Each Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, at spacedoutradio.com, I will take you on a journey of enlightenment. The goal is learning from the soul on out. We'd love it if you joined our experience, Cosmic Passport.
Live Sunday nights at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern on the Fringe FM. We rock the paranormal talk.
Hi, this is Ryan Gable, host of the Secret Teachings radio show. If you are interested in ancient knowledge and hidden mysteries, as well as a unique and balanced perspective on conspiracies, symbols, and the occult, then join me every Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Fringe.
All right, thanks for sticking around. We're at the last part of the show on Lighting the Void. We're here with Julia Sellers. We're live on the Fringe FM. Don't forget, this weekend, Friday and Saturday night, I'll be hosting Spaced Out Radio for Dave Scott on Friday night, and then Saturday night, we're going to do Spaced Out Saturday again. And then next week, I got a surprise for you. We're going to bring some of the Magical Egypt crew back. Laird Scranton will be on with us Tuesday night, and then Wednesday night, Robert Schock will be here. So I'm really excited about that. So, Julia, like I said, I know it's 4:30 a.m. there, so I'll really, again, I want to thank you, and I'm sure our audience wants to thank you for talking about this with us. I got a question here. I'm sure David has explored, I mean, not David, but Michael has explored a lot with what's been happening. Has he went to, like, I know it's kind of a crazy question, but has he seen how the Earth came about? If he's went to the future and past, I mean, is it what we've been told in our stories, or?
Yeah, I mean, basically, he has told me that he has observed Earth out of body coming into the existence and then blowing up a number of times. Well, he's been telling me that, the Earth comes into the existence and then it goes away, so to speak. It's a cyclical movement, right? Moving, that the Earth has been actually moving in and out, so to speak, into the existence and out of the existence. And he says he's been watching the whole process many times. He says, in the future, the Earth would kind of be swollen by the sun. And that's metaphorical, symbolically speaking, that the sun would eat the Earth because the sun would give birth to Earth and other planets, and the sun would also eat it back, so to speak. So the Earth in the future would kind of like implode or would be eaten by the sun. And Michael said that this has been happening to our galaxy many times. It's a cyclical movement, and it keeps on occurring and reoccurring, which is really interesting to me because I kind of like had a hard time believing it, that the earth basically would come into the existence and then would, kind of like implode or be eaten by the sun. And then the whole thing would be repeated in a cycle all over again. It's kind of interesting. But that's what he said. That's what he observed. And that's what his understanding about Earth is.
That's kind of scary.
It is. And
when
it's
the Earth's
scary.
going to blow up.
Yeah. So...
But I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. Everything else in space kind of does its thing eventually and blows up and puts itself back together, and everything is cyclical,
Yeah. Yep.
Have you or Michael ever experienced witnessing somebody that just passed away and they don't know that they've passed away?
Yeah. Well, basically, Michael has been, experiencing a lot of the passing away of people, so to speak. To the point that he would tell me, I was able to watch an individual, passing away, and I was able to watch his, let's call it soul leaving the body. Mm-hmm. And again, he says he saw energy or kind of like, shimmering lights, but the light took the form of the physical body, like the contours of the shape of the physical body, but it was not made of matter, a physical dense matter. It was made of energy and light that was moving, but it had the shape of the physical body, and it left the physical body, right? So he calls it, soul, and he would watch this soul leaving the physical body from either the chest area, or sometimes it would be the belly area, chest or belly. Sometimes it would be the head area that basically he would see, and he could tell that, I see shape of a physical body which is filled with different shimmering light and is leaving the physical body upon dying or death. I know that Michael was able to watch the death of my uncle a couple of years ago, because I have asked him to do it for me. My uncle died 5 years ago, and Michael reported back to me what he was able to observe, and it really was interesting, and I'm gonna share some thoughts on that with you.
Okay.
Basically, after my uncle died, he was not aware of a fact he died. He basically continued to walk around his village as if he was in the physical body. He was not aware of a fact that he is not having his physical body. He was not aware of a fact that he was dead. And it's funny because he was walking through the village, actually, on the street, but not his physical body walking, of course. It was his, let's call it the soul, or just the physical shape. I mean the shape of his physical body that was walking. And it's funny because Michael was able to interact with the shape telepathically. And he was able to tell me what my uncle thought when he was walking down the street and he was dead. He basically was greeting the people that he met on the street. But guess what? They did not see him. They did not reply to his greetings, and he kind of like was angry. He was thinking to himself, why people are not saying hello back to me? That's what Michael told me. He was able to read his thoughts. And he says, one of the thoughts that your uncle was experiencing when he was dead, walking down the street in the form of a soul or energy that left the body, was that he was wondering why the people are not saying hello back to him. Okay, he would visit the groceries. He would go to the local pub, and greeting the guys there. They were not, greeting him back. So what I'm saying is that after a couple of days after my uncle died, or he was dead for a couple of days, he was not aware of the fact that he was dead. He continued to do things that he used to when he was alive without realizing that, oh, I'm dead, and this is kind of like crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but this is what Michael reported back to me, and I know he was not making it up. That's what he understood, from the behavior of my uncle after that. But basically, he did not know he was dead, and he tried to do just regular things that he was used to doing when he was alive. So this is how it probably works after, when you die, that sometimes you're not aware that you pass away until you probably get to higher dimensions, if you are able to get higher, because whether or not you're able to flow higher or get into higher dimensions depends on the energy that left your body, how dense the energy is, how, if it's dense, if it's too dense, it would be hovering just above the atmosphere somewhere. If it's not that dense, it can fly up into different dimensions, so to speak. So you continue higher and higher depending on the weight of your energy, or depending on the density of your energy, so to speak. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. What are some of the things that Michael says that are there any things in the astral realm that are common? Like same beings, same type of stuff. You know what I'm asking? Like, is there anything that's always in the astral realm that's not here that he sees every time he goes?
Oh, yeah. In astral realm, he definitely sees people who are discarnates, who are just the ghosts, dead people. He sees them around. They're dead, and that's part of an astral. Mostly, there could be, negative entities, there could be positive entities in the astral, but the dead people or the dead souls are hovering there in the astral. Also in the astral, there could be excuse me?
Well, a lot of us don't know that we're dead, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah, but they don't know, but they don't have the physical bodies, right? And they're just hovering in the astral without their physical bodies, and they do not realize they're dead. But the funny thing is that when you go through the so-called tunnel, because the tunnel should be when you die, many people have the tunnel experiences, that they go through the tunnel, and they see the light by the end of a tunnel. So the tunnel actually should be kind of like the link between the 3D and the 4D, right? So they're linked by the tunnel. And when people are dying and they're leaving the 3D, and entering the astral, the 4D, they have to go through the tunnel. And when you are in the tunnel, Michael, I have had a tunnel experience, and I was not dying once. Michael, has had tunnel experiences, and he was not dying. So basically what I'm saying is that you can have tunnel experience being out of body, experiencing out-of-body experience, as opposed to having a near-death experience, because when you have a near-death experience, you actually are dying, and it's similar to out-of-body experience, but there are differences, because when you have near-death experience, you are dying and you go through the tunnel. Sometimes you come back, or you are not coming back, so you are dead actually. Or once you pass the tunnel, you're dead. Sometimes you would be sent back by the light beings that you would meet at the end of a tunnel, and they would tell you, hey, it's not your time yet, you have to go back. You know, you have instances of people who would be dead for 5-10 minutes, the clinical death. You know, they would be in coma, and while their heart is not working, they would see all the different things. At the end of a tunnel, they would pass the tunnel. They would go into the heavenly realm, so to speak. Their heart not beating, but their consciousness still working, because consciousness works even when you are dead, right? The consciousness is something that is over space limit, over time limit. It just exists. It was never created, and it cannot be gotten rid of, so to speak. Consciousness is always there, and it's aware of itself. So what I'm saying is that, when you pass the tunnel, Michael has been having tunnel experiences without having the experience of dying. So what I'm saying is that, because the research would tell you, the tunnel experience only happens while you are undergoing the near-death experience, but not. It's happening. I've had tunnel experience and I was not dying. Michael has had many tunnel experiences and he was not dying. So rather, what the tunnel experience is, to my knowledge, is that it's the link between the 3D and the 4D, the astral dimension. And the link is the tunnel. When you're passing from one dimension to the other, okay, you go through the tunnel. There is a so-called magnetic void between the 3D and the 4D dimension. And the magnetic void actually is there. It serves it's there in order for the physical body being separated from the astral, right? Because there is a reason why we are separated, why the 3D is separated from the 4D, right? Now, if you pass the magnetic void, you kind of like blend together. The 3D will blend with 4D. You have people who are able to get into higher dimensions. So the 4D would blend with 5D. The 5D would blend with 6D, and so on. And then you would come up to certain dimension, a certain blending where there is no matter anymore. There's only liquid life. There's ether. There's plasma. There is no physical matter as we used to in experiencing in our 3D, in the 3D, in the 3D. Yeah.
Is Michael able to create things in the astral realm?
Yeah, I mean, not only Michael, but everyone who basically enters the astral is able to materialize stuff. It happens there automatically, So once you hit certain frequency, once you hit the astral, you are able to materialize. And this is actually happening when you're having lucid dreams, for instance, or astral dreams. When you're lucidly dreaming, you can kind of like navigate your dream, and you can create things that you want to appear in your dream, right? So basically, when you're lucid dreaming, you can say, oh, I want to, whatever, I want
one of those squirrel suits to fly around on the mountains.
Whatever you want. Yeah. And so the next thing you know, they're there, or you don't want them, you don't want certain things to be a part of your dream. You just vaporize them, you dematerialize them. So yeah, this is happening. And even when you're out of body, you create things via thought. So you have a thought, and the next thing you know, the thought would turn into an object, into a real thing, right? So basically, thoughts are something that are able to materialize or create, but it's very hard to do in 3D. It's much easier to do in 4D because the circumstances and the energies and the vibrations and the oscillations and the frequencies in 4D are different from what they are in 3D, and that's why you can easily materialize things automatically actually in the 4D, but you cannot do it in the 3D. Yeah.
I got a couple more questions for you. I was saving this one for last. Is it possible to go into the astral realm but still affect the physical realm, say move things or touch someone or like cause some type of poltergeist activity, in other words?
Yeah, it is possible, but from what I know, it's very hard to do that. I know that Michael told me once that, yes, it's possible, and he was able to do that, but it's very hard to do that, and it requires spending a lot of energy on your part in order to be able to do that. I know that Michael once broke a window when he was angry, and he was out of body, actually, and he was angry about something. But what is anger? Anger is a very specific high frequency emotion, and high frequency emotion gives you high amplitude because an emotion is a type of energy, is a wave, okay? Sure. It's an electromagnetic wave that would have certain amplitude, and amplitude is the intensity. And if the intensity is high enough, if the amplitude of the emotion is high enough, then you can do things, in astral realm. You can move things in the 3D from being in the astral, but it requires energy expenditure, and the energy should be certain intensity, otherwise certain amplitude, right? So if it's high enough, yes, you can do it. If it's not high enough, then you cannot do it. It's about the intensity of intention. You intend to do something, and once you hit the correct proportions of the intensity or the amplitude, then you can do it. That's how I understand it.
All right, last question real quick, Julia. I've heard the names that we carry on this earth are not our real names, and people that travel in the astral realms frequently, say for like Michael, discover that they have a higher self and a higher name. Has he talked about this at all?
Yeah, I mean, this is, excuse me, it's the names that your energy body actually has.
Okay.
It's very different from the name that your physical body has. Excuse me, I'm getting some kind of
that's all right.
A voice problem.
I'm
sorry.
We got to wrap up the show anyways. I know it's early in the morning. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning where you're at. So I really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this. And I wish you all the best with your book, your lecture tours, and everything that you're doing. And I hope one day we can talk to you again and have you back on the show, Julia.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye, Julia. All right, guys, that's it. We're going to get out of here. That was Julia Sellers. Go to our website, juliasellers.sk. You can check out the book there as well. All the links are on the website. We got to get out of here. If you're listening live, don't forget Spaced Out Radio is up next. We'll be here tomorrow night live as well. This has been fun. My favorite subject to talk about, and I know it's yours too. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.